He said, Udaret Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadaye Atmaiva I Atmanur Bandur Atmaiva Ripur Atmanaha. One should uplift their life with the help of the mind, not to degrade them. The mind is the friend of the living being, is also enemy of the living being. That was the previous verse. And this verse, Krishna says that when a person can control the mind becomes his good friend. When he is not able to do so, the mind becomes the greatest enemy. And after this, there is another verse. Jitatma prasantasya paramatma samanita sitosna sukadukesu. Then, when the living entities are able to control the mind, the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord Himself coming to deliver him. Take charge. He helps you. Sitosna sukadukesu tadamana pamanayu. When we are trying to control our mind and senses, and somewhere we are progressing, and Paramatma, God Himself comes to help you because you are trying. Not for the lazy people. As our Prabhupada says, lazy and crazy cannot become Hare Krishna. Very difficult. And if we are becoming lazy and crazy, they are not fit to become a devotee. And what to do? Try to become a devotee. And when the Lord Himself comes to rescue us from these difficulties, Sitosna Sukadukara, your happiness and distress become equipos. You are same in your happiness and distress. And the winter and summer, hot and cold also, heat and cold also become equipos to you. Tada mana pamanayo, honor and dishonor. Sometimes we become very upset when somebody says something to us. Recently, one devotee wants to get married. On Mataji, she was doing nice service and not even done anything yet, she already left her service. I told in the class, you have become a Maya, living Jagannath service. Only people after marriage become Maya. Before itself, you become Maya. And she said, how Maharaj can say like that? I said, Prabhupada, one devotee came and told Prabhupada, sometimes I'm in Maya. Prabhupada says, not true, all the time you're in Maya. Only sometimes you're in Hare Krishna. True or not? All the time you're in Maya. I have to be very, honest to you. When we are here, we are a little bit in Krishna conscious. The moment we go out, the Maya is waiting for us. She has given you two hours break. The Maya is also energy of Krishna. Give you 2 hours break. Okay.
That was in a week.
That's right. So, when you become a devotee means one who is able to control mind and senses. In the same chapter, text 2, the Lord says, Yam sannyasam iti prahur yogam sannyasi pandava na sannyasi sankalpo yogi bhavati kasyana. He says that renunciation means is yoga, equal to yoga. Yoga means linking oneself with the Supreme Lord. No one can become a yogi unless he is able to control the mind and senses, giving up the desire for sense gratification. Nobody can become. Desires are very strong elements in us. That's why in the chapter 3, text 36, Arjuna asking, Arakena prayaktam cha papam charanti purusaha anichanapi vrishneya baladeva niyojita what is that, that forcing power, that, forcing men to indulge in different kind of sinful activity, even though without, intention. And Krishna says, Kama yesa, Krodha yesa, Rajoguna samudbhava, Mahasana Mahapapma Vidhinam Vairinam. He said that Rajoguna inside of the living being transform into Kama, different kinds of desires, who is the greatest enemy of the living being. Evam Buddha Bhavam Rupa. Krishna said, curb the enemy in the form of lust by strong Krishna consciousness. So in this way, the first thing to understand, the friend and enemy is living inside us. That is the mind. When you control the mind becomes your friend. When you are not able to control your mind, the mind becomes your enemy. When you are trying to control your mind and you are succeeding some way, the Lord Himself comes to rescue you, help you to do this thing. When the Lord comes inside you to be a part of your endeavoring to become Krishna conscious, then automatically the difficulties, the miseries of this world, whether honor or dishonor, whether happiness or distress, whether gain or loss, everything becomes equiposed to you. You're always the same person. And the further Lord says, Jnana Vijnana Tripat Atma Kutosa Vijitendriya Yukto Iti Uchite Yogi Samalostra Makanchana. That with the Jnana and Vijna, that means you have learned something about the mind, the knowledge. Vijnana, when you apply the knowledge in your life, the wisdom only comes when you are applying anything in your life. So he says, when you learn the knowledge and then you apply it, then he says you become self-realized. When you become self-realized and you see the pebbles, the stone and the gold all same to you. Karna, is it possible?
Yeah, possible.
You see the gold and then the stone and the pebbles all same.
We practice.
Yeah, can.
Practice can.
Practice makes you perfect. How you do that? How you come to that level of self-realization? By application of your knowledge. And after that, Krishna says, Suharin Mitrari. Jai Sri Sri. Suharin Mitrari Udasena Matyasyan Dvesti Sadhusu Sadhu api chapi papesu Samabuddhi visisyate. When we come to that platform of self-realized, Krishna says, Suharin Mitrari Udasena Matyasya Dvesya Bandhusu. When you come to the level of self-realized, you see the well-wisher and the benefactor of your life, and person who is always neutral, be there to assist you. A person who, enemy, friend, the sadhu, the sinful people, everybody becomes equal to you. You're no longer saying, this is my friend, this is my enemy. You no longer say, this is a pious man, this is a sinful man. You see everybody equal in this world. By how? By taking this knowledge of Krishna and applying it in your life. Krishna said the next step is that you become self-realized. When becoming self-realized, and what you see the dollar. You see the toilet paper.
Same.
You see the stone. You see the gold. All same only. Is it possible? And Krishna says not only that, your friend and enemy is also equal to you. Nobody is your friend, nobody is your enemy. Because we have not come here to make enemy and friends. We only came to this material world with only one mission, to revive our Krishna consciousness. So the devotee normally, they do not even know who's friend, who's enemy. They don't even know who's rich, who's poor. They don't even know who's gaining, who's losing. Because his mind all the time only thinking is one thing only, how to revive my Krishna consciousness. How to revive my Krishna consciousness. Because his mind is so much absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he no longer see anything else in the world. Just like somebody asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, what do you think about Sai Baba? Prabhupada said, I never think of him. And we may be thinking that Prabhupada maybe is making a joke or what, but it's true. Why he has to think about somebody else other than Krishna? You know? So in this way, very important for us to understand that this is the position of the mind. The mind is very neutral. To go into the subject matter, the mind is like a knife. The intelligence is the hand. Now the knife is, your mind is the knife, and then the intelligence is your hand. So if the knife goes to the hand, it all depends how the hand is going to use the knife. The mind is nothing. It's just, an element, an instrument. All the things are done by the who?
Hands.
Intelligence. So we'll come to the subject matter now, later. Now we have to understand, more importantly, Krishna gives more important, more information about the status of the mind. The chapter 2, text 60. Yatato iapi kaunteya purusarya vipachita indriyani pramadini aranti prasabham mana. Pramadini means mad. He says the like is like a crazy man. Mad fellow. That even a man who knows the power of discrimination, who has got the power of discrimination, a man who knows that this is good, this is not good, a man very highly educated, he has got the power of discrimination, even he has become slaves to the mind. Very difficult to control the mind. That is in chapter 2, text 60. Even you are empowered to have that kind of intelligence with you to discriminate. Just like a lot of PhD fellows, they've got the power to discriminate. They know cigarette is not good for you, but still they smoke. That is how powerful is the mind. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vaseyas indriyane indriyatebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. And the chapter 2 text verse 61, Krishna explains further. A person who are able to control the senses and fix his mind in Krishna consciousness is known as the man of steady intelligence. We have to come to the level of steady intelligence. And who can become a steady intelligence? A person who is able to control the mind and senses and fix his consciousness. Only Krishna consciousness. And chapter 2, 62 and 63, Krishna gives a famous verse. Dhyayato visayam pumsam sangatesu pajayate sanga sanjayate kama kama krodha bijayate krodha bhavati sammoha sammoha smrti vibrama Smriti Brahmsat Buddhinasat Buddhinasat Vinasyati. And Krishna says, by contemplating on the object of the senses here, by contemplating some objects, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it's some woman, a man, or anything, by contemplating, thinking one thing for a very long time, Krishna says the mind develop attachment for that. And that attachment will bring in different kind of desire. And the desire will bring in anger. And the anger will bring in delusion in yourself. And the delusion will bring in loss of memory. And the loss of memory will bring loss of intelligence. When you lose your intelligence, you fall again. Beautifully Krishna explained. And where is coming from? Where they started from? When you are thinking. How the thinking comes in? Because you are seeing. Senses. When we are seeing, so Krishna says you must see things properly. There are 3 ways of seeing things in the world. The chapter 18, text 20, Krishna explains this thing. Sarva bhutesu yenaikam bhavam avyayam iksate avibhaktam vibhaktesu tagyanam vidhi sattvikam. The person who is in the knowledge of mode of goodness, when he sees the living entities, he sees the soul within the living entities. When you see somebody, you see what? You see the soul. When you see the soul of you see anybody, then actually you are rightly seeing. You are situated in the mode of goodness. You see the soul. Then he said there are people seeing, but they see in the mode of passionate. Pritagvena to yajnanam nana bhavam pritagvidam veti sarvesu bhutesu tagyam vidhim rajasam. The people who are in the mode of passionate, when they see, they don't see the soul, they see the body. Oh yes, Chinese coming. Here is the Indian coming. Here is the Bhumiputra coming. Here is the Paraya coming. Here is the Malayali coming. Here is the Telugu coming. Here is the Matsali coming. So they see everything, body, 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 body. And somebody talking about any of these things, that means you must know he is situated in the mode of passion. When you identify with the body, somebody see, yes, spirit soul is coming. Part and parcel of Krishna is coming. Then he is situated in the mode of goodness. Now there is a person situated in the mode of ignorance. Yasto Krishna vade kasmin karyam saktam ahaitukam atva swa alpam cha tatama samudaritam. Alpam means children of Tamil. So alpam arge. Very low class man. Alpam means very low class. He said when the low class man is seeing his own false ego in others. False ego means you are completely, you are like an animalistic life. So when a person in the lower consciousness, when he sees everybody, he sees nobody. He only sees himself. Nanda. Why the fellow looking at me? You only see him. Why? They are not respecting me. Only seeing it. They see nobody else. That's why they fight. Because they're only important about their own self. They see themselves in everywhere. And they become the master. So there are 3 ways people are looking here. So only way to control the mind, your seeing must be very proper. Like Krishna says in the chapter 5:18, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmani Gavyasini Sunichaiva Swapikecha Pandita Samadarsina. That the real learned person, he sees everybody as equal here because he doesn't see the bodies. He only see the soul, which is, eternal fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme. So in this way, our seeing must be very proper. That is why in the chapter 6, text 26 onward, Krishna explains. Krishna told Arjun, Yato nishalati manam chanchalam astiram tato niyamyatak atmani evam vasam nayi. Arjuna, bring back the mind which is flickering, which has no foundation. Chanchala, always jumping one place to another. Bring back your flickering mind unto your control. Prasantam manasam ihinam yoginam sukham uttamam upaiti rajasam santam brahmabhuta akalmasam. The chapter 6, text 27, Krishna again explains. The yogis have perfected this matter. Why? The yogis see the equalityness in the supreme of the living being. The devotees, they are perfecting this subject matter of bringing the mind under the control because they see the equality that I am not different from the Lord Himself. He is Sachidananda. I am also Sachidananda. He is eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. I am also eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. See, the Lord, the devotees are saying the equalityness of the Supreme within themselves. And they are fixing the mind into the Supreme. So in this way, they prasanta manasai in. Prasanta means santam. Peaceful. A devotee becomes very peaceful. So this is the process we have to learn. First thing to understand, the mind has no foundation here. It's flickering all the time. But Krishna says the devotees, the yogis are able to bring the mind under control by understanding their qualitativeness with the Lord. That I am not an ordinary pig here, a dog here. I'm not a Chinese or Indian, nothing here. I am equally empowered like the Lord Himself. I am Sachidananda. You see the equalityness of the Lord. No? And then he says, I'm not an ordinary man. So he fixes the mind into the Supreme Lord. And then, in a way, he brings the mind. And then now the Lord says that, how you do it further. Sarva bhuta samatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani iksate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarsina. Chapter 9, 29, Krishna explained. Now, sarva bhuta samatmanam. He said, now when you see everybody in the world, you see me inside them. And when you see me, you see everybody else inside me. Sarvatra samadarshina. Everywhere, you only see me. Is it possible or not? Karuna Prabhu, possible?
Possibility is there.
But what?
It's a lot of challenges we have to go through.
What difficulty is there? What difficulty? You are praying to Krishna. See Krishna inside them. I'm asking you something which we have not seen. And go and look for that person and try to see him in everybody's heart. No. I'm not asking something which you know. I'm telling you what you already know of all this while. Exactly. You are seeing him 20 years, 10 years, 40 years, and so many years. Exactly. You are seeing Krishna. You close eyes, you can see Krishna. Either in the four arms, Vishnu form, or whether you are seeing in the two arms, with the fruit or Radha Krishna, anything. Just you have to see that is already inside you. Very easy. You close eyes only. Every devotee can see Krishna. Is it difficult? Just now I said that when you say somebody Maya, they become upset. And I said, Prabhupada, one devotee went and told Prabhupada, I'm sometime in Maya. Prabhupada said not true, all the time in your Maya, only sometimes you are in Hare Krishna. Even that sometime, little while, when you see somebody, you can bring in Krishna. There is no difficulty at all. Isn't it, Prabhu, Kalesh Prabhu? To see Krishna is not very difficult, but to see him for from prolonged time, maybe a little bit difficulty is there. The Maya may interrupt, but at least to see little while is not difficult for anybody. And then if you practice, now you will come to this thing, what Krishna says. So Krishna told Arjuna that when you see the living being, you see me inside them. And when you see me, you see everybody else inside me. This way you control your mind. And further Krishna says, Yomam yoga pranasyati. The Krishna says that, when you see me in everything, and you see everything inside me, then he says, I'm not lost to you, nor is he ever lost to me. We never get lost when you do these things. And now Arjuna told Krishna, Yoyam yoga toya prokta samena madhusudana itasyam na pasyami chanchalava sitam siram. Arjuna said, Krishna, you said that mind is flickering all the time. Yet there is no foundation. How is it possible to bring the mind under control? Chanchalami mana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva suduskaram. Just now, our President said, not possible to bring the mind under control. If you walk around like this, not possible, definitely. If you sit and focus, it's possible. Our problem becomes difficult because we are not able to, follow what Krishna said. The whole problem in our organization, we are not able to dedicate to follow what Krishna says. In the chapter 18, text 72, Krishna asked Arjuna, Kasideta Surda Parda Twaikagrina Chetasa Kachit Agyana Sammoha Punastan said Dhananjaya. My dear Arjuna, have you heard what I said with your great attentive mind? Have you heard attentively? Is your ignorance, your illusion, your doubts have gone away from you? There's the asked question Arjuna, Krishna asked. Have you heard what I said attentively? And Arjuna said, Nastamo, Smriti Labda, Twaprasadan, Maya Ucheta, Sitosmi Kari Sandeya, Kari Se Vachanam. I heard attentively. Now my ignorance, my illusion, my doubt are disappeared. I'm willing to do whatever you say. Now we are not willing to do whatever Krishna says because we are not hearing attentive. Everywhere this is the problem. Everybody are thinking that, I already know all these things. I know Maharaj, mine is like that only. So many times I've heard about it. And our mind fighting, thinking he is our enemy. Cannot let him to become a president here. He is our enemy. And he must be kicked away from his position being a president. Somebody trying to become a president, so many things are happening. Our mind is flickering all the time. And we are not able to subdue the mind because we are lacking of Krishna consciousness. We are not very serious students. So Arjuna says, my dear Krishna, the mind is very strong, very obstinate, turbulent, and flickering. I think I will be able to bring the wind, blowing wind under control, but not the mind. Krishna says it's possible. Asam sayam mahabhava manodurnigraham chalam Abhyasanatu kaunteya vairagena cha vidyate. Abhyasa means by constant practice. Constant practice. Like just now I've been telling. You know, when you see a person, you see Krishna inside. And it's easy. For a moment, definitely you can see. 1 moment, 1 minute, 2 minutes, you can see Krishna inside everybody. But slowly Krishna disappears. You only see the body of that person. So, but if you keep practicing, okay, now today I'm able to do 1 minute. See Krishna inside that person. Now you practice, tomorrow maybe it becomes 2 minutes. And slowly it becomes 24 hours. You're able to see Krishna in everything here. Krishna is sitting, Krishna is walking, Krishna is talking. Everything is possible. Krishna says by constant practice and by vairagya detachment. You see, our problem is that we are not vairagi. Bhagavad Gita has got 700 verses and 18 chapters. There is only 2 subject matter are spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. Essence of the Bhagavad Gita, I tell you, 2 minutes is the Bhagavad Gita. So much, 700 verses and 18 chapters. There are only 2 things in Bhagavad Gita, attachment and detachment. That's it. Mana eva manusyanam karanam bandha mokshaya moksha bandhaya visaya sangha mokshaya visaya mana. When you become attached with your mind in the world, become bondage, you come back again. When you become detached, you go back to Krishna. And then the 18th chapter is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. What is the 17th chapter? Krishna is talking. By attachment to the world, what reaction you will gain, how you come back to miserable world. By detachment, how you go back to Him. So the 17th chapter is about attachment and detachment. How you should do your work, without attachment. And the 18th chapter is the conclusion of the 17th chapters. 18th chapter is only talking about what? Perfection of renunciation. How you perfectly do this vairagya detachment in your life. 2 things is telling. If you attach, your life is finished. If you detach, you are liberated. And finally, I'll tell you the conclusion, how you perfectly detach in this world. 18th chapter is only the conclusion of the 17th chapter. There is no 18th chapter in Bhagavad Gita. The 17th chapter's conclusion is the 18th chapter. So vairagyam, you want to become happy, you must have vairagyam. You want to make money, you have vairagyam. You want to do anything, vairagyam. The problem is that we don't have that great determination in our life. To control the mind, you must have a vairagya. Determination must be there. So in this way, we come to understand. Now we're going to see how the mind works. I give you a little bit, by 1 o'clock, when it be 1 o'clock, have you got time to say about this thing, Or the mind saying we should go for prasadam? The intelligent may say sit and hear, the mind may say let go. Okay, now, the mind is not by one element then. 17 elements together is known as the mind. It is the sukshama body, linga body. The mind. Now the mind contains of knowledge, 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Your ear, the eyes, the nose, the tongue and the skin. 5 elements are there. Knowledge acquiring senses. There's another 5, working sensor. Your leg, the hand is the private part to hand and your mouth, words. Chakap. Working senses. 10 ready. 5 S are there. Prana, Apana, Udana, Samana, Vyana. 15 ready. And intelligence is 1 element, 16, and your mind is the 17 element. You want to control your mind, you have to control the 17 elements. Control your knowledge acquiring senses, control your 5 working senses, control your prana. Mahaprabhu says, pranadhana. Direct Krishna is the pranadhana. He is the the life air inside you. And the 17 elements are there. Now the mind is divided into 4 parts. It's called manas, buddhi, ahankar and chittas. The one mind is divided into 4. Manas, buddhi, ahankar and chittas. Now the manas, he has no discrimination power. The mind, only work the mind can do is that accepting and rejecting. He don't even know whether what to accept, what to reject. It's only accept or reject. This is the work of the mind. Now the discrimination power is given to the intelligent. And the intelligent can do the discrimination power, taking the information from the chittas. Chittas is the memory chips inside the living being. Sometimes we say, oh, this man, I think I've seen him somewhere before. But we do not know where we have seen this fellow. Sometimes you go to some place, I think I've been here before, Looks very familiar, this place. And sometimes you see the Bhagavad Gita, oh, I've seen this Gita before. The mind, the chittas, the memory chip is there. Now to help the living being, Krishna has given the mind, he has given the buddhi, and he has given the memory chip. And now all this mind and the buddhi and memory chip is meant to help us. But they are not able to help us because the false ego sitting there is already contaminated the mind. The false ego already contaminated the intelligence. It's already contaminated the chitta. So whatever we try to do, there's a contamination. The mind is not able to, do the right thing. The intelligence is not able to do the right thing. The chittas are not able to give you the right information because we are situated in the false ego. If you study the creation, there's a Purusa is there, Prakriti is there, Avyaktanam, Prakriti is there. Avyakta means unmanifested. Unmanifested, you are not able to see, but it is there. When the Lord Purusa look at the Prakriti, Avyakta, it becomes Vyakta. It is called Mahatattva. That means, from the Purusa and the Prakriti, then appears the Mahat. Mahat means your buddhi, your ahankar, and then your mind. And from there, the real high ahang, the false ego appear. And from the false ego, now comes in the three modes of material nature. So the modes of nature already influenced by the false ego. So there are mode of goodness, they are also influenced by the false ego. That contamination in the mode of goodness. And the passionate and ignorant. And from this contamination of the three modes of nature, from the mode of goodness, mind appear. But the mind also not very pure because already contaminated by the modes of nature, by the ahankar. From the sattvika ahankar, mind appear. From the sattvika ahankar, that your knowledge acquiring senses appear. From the sattvika ahankar, your working senses appear. From the sattvika ahankar, your object of the senses appear. And then from the tamasa ahankar, the Panchabhuta appears. In this way, everything is contaminated there. And who has contaminated this one thing here? False ego, that's it. So now the only way is that you have to do something right in your life, that you have to give away the false ego, take the real ego. The real ego, that you are the servant of Krishna. The false ego is that is the wrong identification of your life. That I am Indian, I am Chinese, I am Cantonese, Chindian. False identification. So the false ego. So how you do this thing? Understand, Prabhu, to control the mind to everything. Because the mind is meant to help you. Mind is just a knife. And intelligence is your hand. The knife is nothing to do. It's an instrument and comes to this hand. The intelligence is meant to do something and is wrongly killing people. Wrongly doing all that thing. Because intelligence is not getting the right information from the chittas. Why? Because you are sitting in a false ego. False identification makes your mind also useless for you. Makes your intelligence also useless for you. Make your chittas also useless for you. And now one thing you have to do in your life is that somewhere or other you have to give up your false ego. Without giving up false ego, even you read Bhagavad Gita 100 times, even you chant 16 rounds, for rest of your life, you cannot go back to Krishna. The false ego will bring in more false identification in your life. You'll be chanting to become a very powerful devotee, very handsome devotee, very attractive and false prestige will bring in. So now Krishna says this thing in the chapter 3, text 27. Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudatma kartaha nitya manyate. When you are in the false ego, you think that you are the karta, you are the proprietor, everything is the way you are the proprietor. This is all mine. I and mine become very predominant in your life. So in the next verse, chapter 3:28, Krishna says, Tadbhavittu mahabhavo guna karmesu vibhagaya guna gunesu vartanta iti madvana sajyate. Tadbhavittu means a person who has rightfully, properly understood the Bhagavad Gita, Tattva, the knowledge. And that person able to give up the desires for sense gratification, because he is able to see the difference between karma and bhakti. Understand, Prabhu? When you properly understand the Bhagavad Gita, every one of us sitting here, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, more or less we all got different understanding and realization of Bhagavad Gita. Some devotee, they preach, you give up all your, your car, your, motorbike, there's one devotee in Malaysia. He has got his own philosophy, own understanding, reading Bhagavad Gita. He's there for more than 15 years. He thinks, sleeping in a mattress is Maya. And eating on the table is Maya. Keeping tables and chairs in your house is Maya. TV is Maya. Car is Maya. Everything is Maya. So he sold off everything. House is empty with his wife. Yeah? And he thinks going to his mother's house is Maya because his mother is not a devotee. Anybody recording our?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't tell anything.
Okay, Kavini my Prabhu say like that. They got their understanding. It's a very serious problem in the organization.
Yeah.
Very serious. They got their own understanding. They preach in their own way. But their preaching cannot pakai. Cannot pakai, Krishna says, one who has properly understood the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is able to give up the desire for sense gratification, because he understands what is karma, what is bhakti. When you do karma, you get the reaction of this world. When you do bhakti, you get Krishna. The first thing you understand. How you understand? By properly understanding the Bhagavad Gita. And the next verse, Krishna says, Prakrtir guna sammuda sajjante guna karmasu tan akrishna vidomandan Krishna vinna vichalaye. This is chapter 3, text 29. Krishna says that the people who are on the bodily concept of life don't have a proper knowledge. They do everything in this world with attachment. Those who do not have the proper knowledge. A person who got the proper knowledge, he knows what is karma, he knows what is bhakti. So he knows karma, oh very bad. Bhakti, okay, very good. So he understands this thing. First, the next thing Krishna says, a person who is, who are in ignorance, they do everything in the world with a great attachment. They go to education, they work, they get married, they buy a house, they buy a car, get children, everything they do with a great attachment, ignorant. Then Krishna says, but a devotee who have understood properly, he said they should not unsettle them. That means Krishna, you don't give up, because that fellow is doing, he's going to get education, he's getting children, he's getting house. Thinking that is Maya, you don't give up. Krishna said that. Don't unsettle them, because that fellow is doing it with great attachment, ignorant. But you do it with great devotion. See, the inner motive is very important. The fellow's inner motive to do everything for his own sense gratification. But if you do the same thing for the happiness for the satisfaction of Krishna. Krishna said that is the best. No need to give up anything here. And how to do it with great devotion? There's the next verse Krishna takes in the chapter 3, text 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasadiyatmo chetasa nirase nirmamo putva yuddhasva vigata jwara. Jwara means, what do you say? Jwara, victory. Victorious. Dukkha. So he said, Krishna said, now you fight without any, doubt, and you become victory. How he says that? Number one, you do this battle for me in my consciousness, thought of me. Nirase nirmamo. Nirmama means not claiming the proprietorship. Nirasar means without any expectation. And surrender, you offer that arpanam, offer the result unto me. He said, definitely you'll become victory in the battle of this material world. And I will finish off with another verse, chapter 3:33. Sadrisam chetasa swasyan prakartim jnanavan api prakartim yati bhutani nigraham kim karisyasi. He says everybody in this material world are working under the influence of the three modes of nature, and they become slave to the three modes of nature. He says how a person can become successful in his life if he is slave in his life. Understand, Prabhu? When you are putting yourself lower in the material world, the moment you think you're Chinese, you're putting yourself very low in your life. Because you are not a Chinese, you are Brahmasmi. You are the, empowered, personality of Godhead. You are the Anka. You are empowered being here. Eternity, full of knowledge and full of bliss. They call it Aham Brahmasmi. Now, being situated in a high level, now when you call I'm Chinese, it becomes so low. Krishna says how a person can, become successful in his life if he behaves like a slave in the world. It's a beautiful translation. Can you read that one? 333. Give somebody read that one, Prabhu, loudly. There's a right, I'm just telling you through my own broken language. You can go 330 and 333.
330 and
330. That translation you can read.
Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight.
Okay, and the next verse is that Eme matam idam nityam. If you follow what I say, I read the translation.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunction and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive
Okay,
reaction.
333 go.
33.
33.
Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish?
A person who is repressed in his life. You're repressing yourself from a higher level. You become so low. Krishna asking what a person under repression can achieve in his life. So we wanted to achieve in our life. We might be very highly situated to do this thing. And the position is given to us as the Jivatma, Brahmasmi, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. But Krishna says that, if you work under the modes of nature, you are repressed all the time. So you cannot achieve anything in the world. So only way that is that we have to clear one thing. What we have to clear? ahankar, false ego you have to clear. Without clearing that, you cannot control your mind, you cannot control your intelligence, you cannot control anything here. Only way you have to know, control your mind and intelligence, make favorable towards you, only you have to work on the false ego. And how to work on the false ego? Try to go back into the Gita, Tattva Vittu. Read again and again and again. Proper knowledge you take from inside. Proper knowledge. And you are able to see the difference now. And now again, when you want to do practice, okay, now practice without any expectation to the result. And practice without any proprietorship of the result. And practice, try to think of Krishna in your practice. And finally offer the result to Krishna. And you're able to control your mind and senses. Okay, thank you so much for being here. It's already... any questions, any doubts? Yeah.
Why Krishna created false ego?
Okay, why Krishna created? Okay, now his question is that why Krishna created false ego? Now Krishna did not create false ego. When we were with him in the spiritual world, and we are being part and parcel of Krishna, always we have been given minute independence in our life, which is not taken away from us at any moment. So with the minute independence, we thought to go away from Krishna for a short while. Try to enjoy life independently from Krishna. So Krishna has to take a Purusha avatar. And the Purusha avatar has to create another place for us. So they order Brahma to do the thing. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 2, these things are explained. Ja sasar jagre tamisram andatamisram adikrit mahamoham moham cha tamacha jnana vyaktita. That it says in the Bhagavatam, when Brahma created this world, Brahma created 5 defects in the world. Ignorant. Brahma created. The moment you want to come in, you want to enjoy here. Because if you are very intelligent, Krishna conscious, you cannot enjoy here. Can you enjoy here? If you are too Krishna conscious, you don't like anything here. We are trying, we are still happily doing something in the Sattu Malaysia because we are a little bit in Maya. But if you are not in Maya, we are frustrated with everything. Children crying one corner, they are not listening to me. The one Malaysia, Alibaba and 40 thieves are stealing. And so many things. Oh, enough is enough. That's what Kundi Devi says. That when a person is really exhausted of the material world, easy for him to come to you. But a person who is enjoying, a little bit of education, beauty, wealth, and other thing, is very difficult for them. So when Brahma created, he created 5 illusion, ignorance in the world. False. So first thing is that when Brahma created this world, he created in such a way, we the pure living entity, we enter into this world. What happens? You forget about your real identity as Swarup. You forget your Swarup, that I am Satchidananda. You forget automatically. It's not we created, then you come here and then you get entangled. No. No, just like, you are entering into the ocean. Before entering, you are not wet. The moment you enter, you get wet. But the real thing is that you are not wet, or at any time you are dry. But the moment you enter, you get. So similarly, when we are coming, we are very, very pure. Prabhupada explains, just, like a rainwater coming. Very pure. Touches the mud, it become muddy. But there's a filter. You to separate the mud from the water. So now when Brahma created this world, he created with 5 false, ignorance here. The one is that the moment anybody enter here in this world, they forget their own Swarup, that I am the Atma, the spirit soul, they forget. Number 2 is that they develop another, matter, that they think they are the body. First thing, they forget about their soul. Second thing, they think they are the body. And the third thing is that the moment they come into the world, they think they are the proprietor. Oh, this is mine. This is mine. How to get more. So they think they are the proprietor. The fourth is that, frustration comes in. They are frustrated. Even they got money, they are frustrated. They don't have money, they are frustrated. Everybody is frustrated in the world. No. The fourth one, Brahma is created. The fifth one is the fear of death he has created inside us. Even though we are not meant to be fear of anything, because there is no death for us, but we are fear all the time. So when Brahma created this world, he created with his false, of elements here. So the moment we come into here and we develop the false ego. We are coming with the ego, real ego. But come here is a false, false identification has been created. We enter and then the ego becomes false. That's it. Krishna never create. Krishna never do anything bad for you. Yes, that's everything good for you. Even when you want to live, Krishna told him, don't go to Satu Malaysia. It's a very bad place. And nobody will be malu of anything there. Apa malu bosku. That is our fault. Very beautifully, a lot of things are explained. So in a way that we have to work on one thing. How to come out from this false ego. This is the biggest impediment, that you are not able to control your mind. You are not able to control your intelligence because of the false ego. Only way is that try to take the true knowledge. That is in the Gita. Any other questions? In the Bhagavatam explains, in the chapter, 10, text, 2, the chapter, in the Canto 10, chapter 2, text 27, Bhagavatam explains about the structure of the body of the human being. It says that this human body is totally dependent on the material modes of nature. The nature. And number 2, within the human body there are 2 fruits are there, happiness and distress. Number 3, the modes of nature, very deeply rooted 3 modes of natures are there. Number 4, the human being has given 4 kind of, goal in their life. They got a goal in their life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. A duty in your life, the economic development, sense enjoyment and liberation. And number 5, body has got 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And number 6, the human body trying to enjoy in 6 circumstances. There is distress, illusion, thirst, hunger, old age and death. And there are 7 elements are there. There is a skin in the body. Under the skin there is a blood, muscle, fat, and then bone, and the cement. There are 7 elements are there, and there are 8 elements covering of that. 8, the body is made by 8 elements. 5 is gross, earth, water, fire. The other one is mind, intelligence and ego. There are 9 holes in the body, and then there are 10 kind of air. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, Naga, Kurma, Vyakaran, Kurukalan, Dhananja, 10 type of air. And then on the 11th subject matter, there are 2 birds are sitting there. One is the Jivatma and another one is the Paramatma. Now the problem is that the Jivatma is sitting in that tree. There got 2 type of fruits there, good and bad fruits, happiness and distress fruit. And then the Jivatma is very busy eating this fruit. Too busy. There's no time for the Paramatma. And because of the very deeply rooted 3 modes of nature, you only able to see the bad fruit, fruit of distress, and is very busy in eating those things. So you have to go back to the chapter 3 text, 21. Krishna says, Karya Karana Karitritve Purusa Prakriti Uttite Purusa Sukudukkanam. They say whatever happening outside you, the nature is the reason. And whatever happens inside you, you are the reason. Kalesh Prabhu.
Yeah.
Whatever happens outside, you have no control. Nature is there, but whatever happens inside you, you are the reason. And after that, Krishna said, Purusa prakriti soyi bhungte prakriti jangunan karanam guna sangasya sat asad yoni janma. So good and bad comes to you in your life through your association. You associate with good people, good thing comes. Bad people, bad comes. Now the chapter 3, text 23, important verse is there. Krishna has said, Upadristam anumantam cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti chapi yukta dehesmin purusam param. Krishna says, in the heart I'm living at the Paramatma. And he said, Bharta means he is the maintainer. He is maintaining you. Sitting as a Paramatma is maintaining you. And Bhakta is the real enjoyer. Maheshwara is the Supreme Lord himself. And he is overseeing what you are doing. And he is the permitter. He is giving you the permission to do what you want to do. And he is the control of everything inside you. So you go back again, nothing in this world is not by outside, not by inside. Nothing is outside because happening because of outside. You are not, enjoying and suffering because of inside. All are done by whom? Paramatma, Krishna. So you have to go back to him. Where everything happening, he is the controller, the main switch is there. You have to go back. Sarva Karana Karana. That Krishna says in the chapter 10, text 39. Yachapi Sarva Bhutanam Bijam Tak Aham Arjuna Natarasti Vinayachan Maya Bhuta Charachan. Krishna says, I am the original seed-giving father. Every creations are emanated from me. Whether moving or not moving, Krishna says, without my, there's a beautiful verse. You read that one, 1039. English you can read. Very beautiful verse. If you understand that one verse, you become a good devotee. Sometimes you put the blame to us or to others or whatever. 1039, Prabhu. Chapter 10, text 39. Okay, we'll finish with that. Otherwise, it will continue. All interconnected there. Okay, 1039?
Yeah.
Louder.
Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating sea of all existence. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me.
Without Krishna, you cannot exist here. That's it, finished. Finished. Burning. Cremating. Throw him away. Finish. So Krishna is the generator of the seed. Everything comes from him, moving or non-moving. Moving means we are the people. Non-moving, the trees, the plants, so many other things. Krishna said all those things can never exist without him. So your life is totally dependent on Krishna. And you must understand that Krishna is doing everything here. Why he is doing everything like this to you? Why the devotee has to go so much of difficulties and suffering? Why? Because Krishna wants you to learn, understand. He wants you to make the best student. You learn and become a best student. So you understand, Yudhishthira asked Krishna, we do not know anybody else in the world, only you, Krishna. But why we have to undergo so much of suffering? And Krishna says, Yasyaham Anugrah, it's all my Anugraham, my mercy. And he says, Swajanam Dukinam, you are so much dependent on your Swajanam, your kinsman. You do not know your kinsman, whether they are enemy or friend of you. We are so much believing everything here, and for you to understand. And Bhisma told Yudhishthira, Aho custom, aho nayam, yat yoyam dharmanandana. And my dear Yudhishthira, you have undergone so much of injustice in your life. But even when you undergo so much of injustice in your life, Krishna has protected you all the time because you never gone away from the association of sadhu, never gone away from the path of dharma, you never gone away from Krishna. All these things has protected you. And Bhismadev says, no, tasmad idam daivatantvam vyavasya bharata sabatasya anuvittanada nada pahe praja prabhu. Bhismadev says, my dear Yudhishthira, whatever happens in your life, you have to understand, it's all plan of Krishna. It's all plan of Krishna. Yam matuleyam, yam manisya matuleyam, suridam priyam mitram suritamam. Bhismadev said to Yudhishthira, the person whom you thought as a charioteer, a person whom you thought your uncle, a person whom you thought your messenger, a person whom you thought as a friend and benefactor is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is having a wonderful time on this pastime. It is a stage, Krishna has laid out the stage, Sattu Malaysia. And Krishna is sitting, one-man show, and watching the movie. Very good. But the problem is that my script is totally different. Krishna's script, totally different. We have written our own script in the material world.
Krishna had a ways, ways.
Yeah.
You want to go to one place, you
Yeah.
give a direction.
Yeah.
But then you detour, then the ways also detour.
Yeah, that's right.
But you reach the destination. So even though it's not following Krishna's plan, Krishna will adjust and then you will turn down to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're late for us.
So we are busy in so many other things. What we are busy here? What we are busy in the material world?
Enjoyment.
How to destroy each other. Nothing else. There was a lake with full of poisonous snake. And the king said, if anybody can jump and cross the river, cross the lake, and I will give you 1,000 acres land. But if you don't want the land, I give you 1,000, gold coin. If you don't want the gold coin, I will give you my own daughter for marriage. Anybody can jump in the lake and come across on the other side, alive. Who wants to jump because full of poisonous snake? And suddenly one fellow jumped and then he came on the other side alive. And the king told him, you are very brave. He said, you want 1,000 acres? He said, no. Do you want 1,000 gold coin? No. Oh, you want my daughter? No. What do you want? I want to know who this fellow pushed me inside. This is the material one. Okay, Prabhu. Very good. Our president say, okay. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for coming, my Prabhu, to give me this opportunity to be here today. Hare Krishna.